Well, hey there, YouTube. So, from time to time, it's good to go back and review the basics. Sorry, my camera's a little off-center. And since this channel is primarily about LGBT equality, LGBT rights, how about we review some basics? That and I've been playing with a troll. So, on my Advice to Parents of LGBT Youth, the Good Life Church of Columbus, me and this individual have been going back and forth. Link below to this person's channel page if you want to check them out for yourself, or leave them a comment. Not saying anything. But the Good Life Church of Columbus is another LGBT-friendly church, another gay-friendly church, who take those clobber verses, those not-so-nice verses about lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgendered, and look at them within the historical and the cultural context, which actually makes most of those verses to be about social rank, about worshiping the deity in the appropriate way, about partnership, and so forth and so on. Oh, pardon me. Don't want to lose the laptop. So, this individual has gone back and forth. This individual and I have been going back and forth quite a bit. And this individual has brought up everything from, well, no, that's the wrong interpretation, to, what is this person's actual first message? Basically, one of the first comments I received from this message is comparing two committed, consensual, loving, caring adults who support each other, are there for each other, and so forth and so on, to one consenting individual committing an act of horrific harm on another individual or mass group. Yeah, this person, Helen Thomas, compared homosexuality to murder. I don't understand it either. I'm still kind of scratching my head over that one. This person goes on to say that this is not about consenting adults, but about exposing unformed minds to perversion and causing them to think perversion is normal. Sex with an 8-year-old is not normal. I totally agree with that. And that's why I say consenting adults. And the sheer fact that you bring up pedophilia also makes me wonder about your own sexual perversions. Because when I talk about homosexuality, when anybody else talks about homosexuality, we talk about consenting adults. Just like when people talk about heterosexuality, they're not talking about pedophilia, they're talking about consenting adults. And people's minds don't automatically jump to pedophilia when they talk about heterosexuality. They don't automatically ask, oh, well, how old's the bride? When they talk about a married couple, or how old's the groom. Just saying. And this individual, Helen Thomas, goes on to talk about male anal intercourse, which, again, this is an advice to parents video where a Christian is talking about how their denomination, their church, their religious institution, views those certain verses. How do you jump from a committed, loving, caring, supportive, consensual adult relationship to anal intercourse? And apparently Helen Thomas also forgets that heterosexuals engage in this type of behavior as well, but lesbians primarily don't. This individual, Helen Thomas, further goes on to say that women who engage in homosexuality are 2 to 3 times more likely to get breast cancer and ovarian cancer, which I've not heard that statistic myself, and I think it would probably be pretty important, being that I am an openly lesbian individual in a gay community in a Columbus in a city that's pretty gay friendly. I have never heard these statistics, and considering the gay community is all about education, being safe, and so forth and so on, I think I would have heard this by now. Beyond that, I minored in human sexuality. And again, I mean, I go to LGBT events pretty regularly, or whenever I get the chance. So I'm surprised that I have not heard this. Unless it's just total bullshit, which it most likely is. This individual talks about the AIDS rate and about STDs. And let us remember, the AIDS rate is out of control in third world countries where gays can't even show their faces. You will automatically be killed in most countries if you are openly gay, especially if you're male. Or even if you're an ally, you might be locked up. So I don't get where that link is drawn either. Now, yes, it is easier for gay men to contract some types of sexually transmitted infections, diseases, but it's also easier for heterosexual men to transmit them. Not to rip on either one. And also, when you are factoring in heterosexual and homosexual, when you talk about heterosexuals, you talk about the men and the women. And so when you're talking about homosexuals, you must factor in the women. Lesbians are in the lowest risk category for all STDs. In that same comment, when Helen Thomas talks about 2 to 3 times more likely to get breast cancer, which I still have never heard of those statistics, and if this individual has a link, I'd be glad to look at it, but I've never heard them, so I'm guessing they're not backed up, because I try to keep well read on this topic. And talks about cunnilingus. Hey, I mean, this individual already mentioned anal intercourse, why not talk about cunnilingus? But again, this person doesn't seem to understand that this video that they're posting on is about how a particular church views certain verses about consenting adults in their relationship. And when it comes to STDs in general, be it hetero, homo, bi, somewhere in the middle, male, female, somewhere in the middle, as long as people take as long as people use barrier methods like condoms, dental dams, they know their status, they are open about their status, and they make informed decisions, they are less likely to get an STD in general. And this goes for, again, no matter what your sexual orientation is, no matter what your gender identity is. This is about, when it comes to sexuality and STD prevention, that's basically all about being an informed adult. Somebody who's mature enough to say, okay, you know what? I really care about you before I'm going to engage in this behavior, but I have this disease. Or to care about, number one, that other person, but more importantly, yourself enough to always use protection. And in the case of us ladies, girl, you better be checking out whatever you're going to stick your fingers or whatever you're going to be looking at. Heck, for the guys too, for heterosexuals. Why wouldn't you be looking at somebody else's genitals before you engage in sexual intercourse? I think it's kind of dumb if you suddenly look down and it's already halfway in ya and you see something that really shouldn't be there. Why didn't you catch that before and take steps to either prevent it, go around it, or not engage in the sexual activity at all? Just saying. It just seems to me that this Helen person keeps on changing the subject because they don't understand it. Because they don't have any other way around everything that I am proposing to them to counter what they're saying. The religious institution that they are posting on is part of my Advice to Parents series, a series that is designed to help parents understand and be able to work through some of those harder conversations. And the reason why I put these gay positive churches on my channel is to show them that not everybody thinks that their God hates them. And if and if there is a deity, and if I happen to be wrong, don't you think it's funny that all these churches are coming out now as gay positive? Could it be that Yahweh is trying to correct the people like Helen Thomas, and is trying to say, no, actually this is what I mean. I'm sending these people to tell you what my real message is, because you're getting it wrong. Just saying. And I don't know if this is going to be my last video dedicated to Little Miss Helen and reviewing some of the basics. It might be. I don't know. I didn't preface it like that, and I haven't told her that she's getting her own video yet. So, we'll see. Peace out, YouTubes.